New Mexico Representative Deb Haaland made history, of course, when she was sworn in as President Joe Biden's Secretary of the Interior, the first time an Indigenous person has led a cabinet agency. Now, a designer from Canada actually made the ribbon skirt that Haaland wore. Agnes Woodward of Kawacatoose First Nation near Regina says it's still sinking in that her skirt is part of that history-making moment. She got a mention in Vogue magazine for, quote, rocking a ribbon skirt in political space. Agnes Woodward joins us now.
Congratulations.
Agnes, you know, the world has seen that skirt that Ms. Haaland was wearing. You know, as you're watching it, what is going through your mind?
It was really an unbelievable moment. One that I was really kind of nervous wouldn't actually happen. But when I seen the photos of her lacing up her moccasins, I got really excited because I had been waiting, you know, since January to see if she would actually wear the ribbon skirt that I made for her or not. So it was really an unbelievable moment that I'm forever going to be proud of, and my family. I feel like, you know, all Indigenous people will be proud of.
Oh, well, we were all, when we saw it, we're like, yes! I mean, it was nice enough to see the ribbon skirt and then to see that there's this Canadian connection. You know, my mind was blown. How did it come to be that you made a ribbon skirt for Ms. Haaland?
Well, my husband is from MH Nation, Fort Berthold Reservation, and that's where we live. I have a friend who is from the same community as my husband, and she has done work with Deb Haaland. She's a good friend of Deb's, and Deb actually reached out to her to ask for help finding somebody to make her a ribbon skirt for her swearing in ceremony. And so she reached out to me. As far as I knew, she was reaching out to a few other ribbon skirt makers, and we were to draw up a design based off of what Deb wanted. And Deb was to pick, you know, the design that she wanted to go with, and she picked my design.
And then you're waiting that day, like, is it going to happen? Am I going to see it? And then you see it, and of course, I'm sure your kids and your husband were all there cheering you on as well through this. They have to be so proud.
Absolutely, yes. I feel like when I first told them and I was drawing up the design, it didn't really sink in like how huge of a deal that was. So when it actually happened and everything was all over, you know, social media, definitely hyping me up about it.
We're looking at some of the other creations that you've made too. I mean, just incredible work. How long have you been making ribbon skirts for? Oh,
I have for at least 8 years now, 8 to 10 years. And just the more that I create, you know, the better I feel like my skills have become.
Yeah, there's no question that you are at the top of your game. We're looking at some of these creations. They just, you know, Vogue wrote about it, of course, which, I mean, it's one thing to be seen around the world, but for Vogue to stop and take note and write about this, like, I was screaming when I saw that. The quote was that Deb Haaland, quote, rocked a ribbon skirt in political space. You know, did you ever think that something that you were going to be creating, or that ribbon skirts in general, would ever be something that we're reading about in Vogue magazine of all things?
No, I mean, in a way I have, only because so many designers, Indigenous designers, have been featured in Vogue. So that was a huge moment for all of us. But I feel like when it comes to the fashion industry, people go to school for a long time. You know, they work on their craft just to be featured in places like Vogue. So in a moment, it kind of felt undeserving. But at the same time, when a woman walks into a room with a ribbon skirt on, you can't help but take notice. And so I'm really part of that, and for all the beautiful support and encouragement that I've received since.
Well, where can we find your creations online?
I have a Facebook and Instagram page called Recreations. That's R with 2 E's, and then Creations with 2 E's, you know, spelled like Cree.
Yes. Agnes, thanks so much for taking the time to join us today, and congratulations. I'm so happy that you got to be such an important part of history there too. We will have that image with us forever.